Okay, so welcome to this Flipdish podcast. We are doing an employee spotlight today, and I'm lucky to have Kailash Kumar here with me. Kailash, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for the invite, Keane.
No problem at all. So I think you have one of the most interesting histories of anyone who works in Flipdish, which is why I think it would be great to sit down with you. So I'd love to just hear your journey. I know you left us for a little while, and kind of maybe take us back to the start. How did you hear about it? How did you end up with us in the first place?
Yeah, sure. So it's quite a long story with me. I was finishing my master's degree in France, in Brittany, back in 2016 in international product management. And I've always been food
Connoisseur?
Food connoisseur. Yeah. Because my dad owns a few restaurant places in the area, and I've always been very tech savvy, and I wanted to find an internship where I could help the restaurant industry with some kind of technology. So I Googled those kind of keywords, and I came across Flipdish and sent a little email with my broken English at the time, and I believe James got back to me, and we had a very interesting call, just an audio call at the time with James and Connor, and I felt like there were two genuinely nice brothers who were very motivated into building something with Flipdish in the restaurant industry in Dublin, and that's how it all started. So I did a 6-month internship where I was basically working closely with James.
So you moved to Ireland?
I moved to Dublin at the time, yeah.
Wow, okay.
So for 6 months straight to just do that internship and to finish my master's degree. So there was a lot of, data entry. Just at the time we're using Zoho, I think, before Pipedrive. So I was helping James, contacting restaurants, doing a bit of support, creating menus, and then he showed me how to make white label mobile apps, stuff like that. And I basically got a full overview of the Flipdish products, like how it all started at the beginning. And I just learned, alongside James and Connor, to do everything, every single bits and pieces ops.
And how many people were in the business at that time?
At the time, I think we were five or six. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So you must have been wearing a lot of hats then as well, right? If there's just 5 people there, right?
Yeah. So I was doing a bit of everything, which was very exciting. As obviously with very little knowledge, I got I just gained so much skills and knowledge with James and Connor on every bits of the ops structure at the time. It was fantastic. It was a beautiful opportunity. Also work closely with Declan, signing up restaurants, and it was great.
So you're doing a bit of sales as well, and
a tiny bit of sales as well. Yeah,
it's amazing. It is the kind of the joy of working in a business like this, right, where you can come in and you can kind of experience lots of different things. I didn't start until 2020, many years after you, but I always found if I had a skill that the company felt I could use to help the company, they tried to either nurture that or get me to do it, or whether it came to upskilling me to learn to do something that I could help the company. I feel like we did that as well here a lot, and it sounds like you were probably at a very intense time for that because they needed you to have extra hats on, right?
Exactly, yeah. And I think after those 6 months, I kind of developed some kind of skill sets around more ops and how to kind of structure that ops team a bit better. And that's why after the 6 months, came back to France, finished up my master's degree with a very good grade thanks to Flipdish. Stayed in contact with James, and then I got that opportunity to help them build the former client operations in Dublin.
Wow. So when did you come back then to work in Flipdish?
I believe I came back after maybe 2-3 months.
Okay. So it wasn't a long time out.
It wasn't that too long. Too long. I just, got that opportunity and I was like, it's now or never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you go straight in as, was it head of ops, or what was the role that you went into, and what was the kind of development then from there? Like, how did you move from kind of role to role?
Yeah. So I was head of ops, and built up the former client operations team, and then that took roughly 2.5 years. And then became senior client operations manager for 3 more years. And then we had a break.
Yeah, had a break. We were on a break, like they say.
Tiny break after.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. No, that obviously is great that you obviously you explored something else for your career. What were you doing in that time in your little break?
A little break. I just decided to have the family business.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So stayed still very close to Flipdish
and restaurants and food
and the restaurant and
everything.
Stuff. Yeah.
Which is great, obviously, and I think that's one of the key things here, that everybody goes and does a work experience in a restaurant, and I think that experience is so important to be able to do the job that we do, because if you don't, it's great knowing technology and all that kind of stuff, but you don't understand the ins and outs of the restaurant, and obviously that gives you a huge advantage that you've come from a family business, which is food business, which is restaurants, and you've seen
exactly. Right? I know like the struggles, the pain points, and what the clients need, and just the whole restaurant flow, I guess. Yeah, that helps.
And what's your role now currently? What are you doing for us?
So I am Onboarding QA and Escalations Lead.
Okay.
Which is fantastic. I've always been very keen into QA and developing my skill set there. And I'm basically working very closely with the onboarding team and just making sure that we deliver outstanding products, making sure that the field team can, have a proper, clean hardware install without any bugs, any issues, reducing any friction, and just, I guess, improving also collaboration across teams.
Amazing. And obviously you're just recently back from Karachi, right? That
Correct.
Must have been a good experience, right?
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
And did you feel like the ability to be able to travel with the business and go and actually meet those people that you're dealing with like on a regular basis, that has an impact on how you're working with them?
Absolutely. I think it's so important and such a privilege as well to be able to travel, meet your peers, and just build a relationship, which helps obviously drastically on a daily basis, just, maintaining that connection and just working even more closely across teams.
And I think it can't always be replaced with just a Google Meet or a Zoom call or anything like that. I think that the time you spend, even if it's not in the office doing things, if you're doing social stuff outside the office with people that, you might only have had 1 or 2 kind of calls or Slack messages with, I think that really helps the relationship.
Exactly. Right? Yeah.
I think it's the outside. And it's nice to know that the company value that, because I've certainly seen in kind of previous roles and in previous companies that it can be a case of, if we can do it via Google Meet or Zoom, we'll do it that way. And you don't need to go
It doesn't replace the human connection, which is so important still.
100%. I think they're great opportunities. So what would you think? You've obviously had an amazing time at Flipdish and gone from obviously the company being very, very small to kind of where we're at now. What would you say is kind of your favorite memory or maybe your proudest moment at Flipdish?
One of my favorite memory would still be remembering opening the door of that Dublin office, that empty building, and just dropping my backpack there next to Connor and James, and we looked at each other with a few other people at the time, and we're like, okay, this is where shit's gonna happen.
we can bleep that out. That's all right. And it did. Things happened, right?
Things happened.
Yeah.
It was one of the greatest memory just to see that empty building, and we just had a lot of ideas going through our minds on how Flipdish is going to evolve and how we can I will be able to build something great for the restaurant industry.
And it seems like that's kind of from that moment to open the Dublin office to where we all are now, and big office, lots of people in here. It's really that it must be so nice to walk in and kind of think, oh, I had a really key role in that, right?
Yeah,
you're right there.
Yeah, it's it was a once in a lifetime opportunity, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. I even felt like I came in, I think there was about 80 people when I joined Flipdish. I felt like I was getting in at a very early stage, and I was very excited by that. But hearing, joining at employee 4 or 5, that's like, I can't even imagine how the changes that you would have seen. Like, I feel like we've become, like it's changed so drastically over the last 4.5 years that I've been here. I can't even imagine what you've seen in that progression, right?
Yeah, it's like a roller coaster in a good way. And I'll just to sum it up, I'll just say it's an adventure, like once in a lifetime adventure, both for Flipdish and for myself. And
do you feel like it's got to that case of kind of more than a job? You're a bit like emotionally invested in it now?
Yeah, definitely.
A little bit of a
definitely baby. There's not a single day where not thinking about what we could do at work, or like, onboardings and QA and Flipdish, or even the team. Yeah.
I think it's one of those things, because obviously food is such a huge part of all of our lives all the time, and going out to eat, going to restaurants, I always now, when I'm sitting in a restaurant and I'm thinking, oh, can I pay with scanning a QR code, or how do I do this here? Either you're seeing restaurants who you think, oh, they would really benefit from our technology, or you see something in a restaurant, you think that's really cool, I must bring that back to the office and things like that. So I feel like it's a hard thing to switch off from, but because it's so rewarding and you can see that impact to the customer quite quickly, it doesn't feel as draining, or that I
no, exactly. It's like it's part of your DNA by now. So it's like, oh, well, this is cool. Maybe I'll take a picture and share it with the company, and then that's so great as well. I think we're such a lovely team with great minds, great people, and that open collaboration at Flipdish is so important. I think everyone is just on the same page. Everyone's aligned on what we want to achieve, and that transparency piece is so important. You can just share your feedback, and if you have ideas, and if it's a good one, it will be done.
Yeah, I love that. I'm just back from 2 days in London with the VP team and the C-suite, where they bring people from all over the business to be able to just give ideas on how we can improve engagement, how we can improve employee satisfaction. And you're sitting there with, the top tier people who are all obviously brilliant in their own right. And they're sitting there, eager for you to tell them what you think, would make the place better. And I've very rarely seen that in kind of previous roles that I've been in previous companies. It's so nice to feel heard and to have that culture, and that kind of hierarchy just isn't there. I can just walk over to James and say, hey, James, I've got an idea, and we can talk it out, and it doesn't feel like that kind of disconnected. Oh, the CEO's on the 100th floor, and you can't get into that floor. You don't speak to them. Like, the guys are just here and are always open for a conversation. I think that's important.
It's super important.
Yeah, I think that's. Yeah. I was going to ask actually about the culture, and what do you like about the culture in Flipdish? You kind of alluded to a couple of things there, but is there anything specifically about how we work that
I think, just the transparency piece, I think, to me, is super important. I think we nail that one. And just the people, it's also a fun working environment. It's not like you're coming in the office like, oh, I need to do X, Y, Z today. Yeah. It's every day is different. You have lovely teams to work with. It's fun. It's engaging. That's how I would sum up the culture here at Flipdish.
Yeah, I think
great culture.
That will always hit me, is that it's like the people you're working with are people who care.
Yeah,
I've definitely worked in places where it's 9 to 5. At 5 o'clock the laptop shuts, and it's just like you just forget that business even exists.
Exactly.
Where, here I feel like people really care about making that difference to restaurants. I don't feel like nerdy or cringy when I say things that, like, I'm really positive about, a training session with a customer that went really well, or, something like that. And people are like, yeah, man, that sounds great. There's really that kind of positivity about it, because everyone's bought into the idea, and we're all kind of pushing towards the same thing. And I think like that's an important part of you can feel proud and that you've put in some extra work or you've done something, and you can tell the team about it, and you'll get the kind of pat in the back or the reward, rather than people being like, oh, this guy, you know. I think that's a really nice environment to be in, because it drives you on, because then you see your colleague do something really amazing and you go, I want to do that, or I want to innovate.
Yeah, and you feel like every piece of the work you're achieving matters, actually. Yeah, like you're saying.
I think that's so important when you don't feel like a tiny little cog in a massive wheel. It's, you know, you are important. What you do is important. It is impactful, and everyone is driving towards kind of the same vision or goal. And I think that's really, really important, regardless of what role you're in. Like we're all kind of trying to do something, whether you're in HR, finance, you know, sales, success, anywhere. We're all going the same direction, I think. I think that's really, really important. If you were going to say to somebody, hey, I think you should come work for Flipdish, like what would be the thing you would tell them, or what would be the things you'd tell them that would be like, this is why you should come work for Flipdish if you're going to?
If you like a good challenge, if you have no ego, you want to work with great people towards the same goal, helping the restaurant industry, working with great clients, having lovely food. So we do have lovely food at this too. Go for it. Just apply. I think it's one of the few company where, actually what you read on the paper is actually true. You know, it's such a great company, and you can just achieve big.
Yeah, I think the challenge part you've hit on there, I think, is so important, right? Yeah. It's like, do you love a challenge? Yeah. If you do, you're going to get such satisfaction out of like achieving something and out of doing something great, and something that's worth doing, right? Nothing worth having comes easy, right? So it's like,
exactly.
It makes you feel like you've gone and done something, and you feel seen from it. I think that's one of the things that I've loved about being here. Every time I've done something, you know, it gets called out in front of the company, or, you know, the CEO or co-founder will come over to you and say, like, I love that. Or you get a Slack message to say, that's fantastic, I saw your work on that. Where you think sometimes you think you're working in a silo. Is anyone going to see this? But it is impactful, and people will recognize it.
Exactly. And it's impressive to see how many shout outs are happening every week. If not daily, which shows just how amazing people are at Flipdish, and how everyone is just, focus driven on just helping our clients and helping the business.
Absolutely. And then coming to kind of maybe the more fun side of things, social events, stuff like that. Is there any one that kind of stands out to you that you really loved, or like just, obviously fun is important to us as well?
We had a nice one a few years back, which was VR
like gaming.
Was it? Yeah, it was a gaming. It was an escape room. No, can't even remember, but it was good fun. It was good fun. Good team bonding. Lots of events going on. Which is again great, because not every company offers the chance to their teams to just to do something on it's just so important again to just maintain that relationship going and with your teammates, and also just helps in general just bringing more ideas on the table.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely done some brainstorming with people. Sometimes turning out you're having a couple of beers together, and sometimes an idea comes together, or we say, we'll talk about that Monday, and something has started then from those kind of things. I also think maybe Dished was a big one. I know you attended that this year, our company and staff event that we run. I think that's a brilliant way of, one, having some time with our customers, and maybe outside of the normal kind of in their restaurant, which is obviously high stress, like they're working, all of that kind of stuff. And then I had the second day having time with our staff to just chill out, celebrate the great year that we've had and things like that. I think those kind of events, they always stick with me as great. And you're obviously meeting your colleagues from across the world who've been, you know, all over Europe or in North America or whatever, and you get time with them as well, which is nice.
Yeah. Can't wait to see Dish next year.
Absolutely. If it was that good the first year around, I think it's the sky's the limit next year.
Exactly.
But it should be good. Well, Kailash, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. Really appreciate it, because I know you're super busy. So thank you very much, and best of luck for your next 10 years at Flipdish.
Thanks, Cian.